Right, I'm gonna put on my maker's mark now. I'll be using a etcher I made myself and some stencils Ernie Grospitch made for me. First I'll attach the stencil to the knife so it won't move when I'm pressing down on it. And so that it's straight. Looks good. And you have to make sure that the stencil is on tight, so the lines are crisp and you don't get the etching solution or whatever it's called getting beneath the stencil. So that should be fine. Just some tape. Then for the etching pad, I've picked a piece of, I think it's probably not aluminium, some sort of pot metal, I'm not sure what. And I'm gonna wrap some I don't know, this is from a makeup pad, not sure what, probably the same as on a cotton bud, so a piece of cotton. I'm gonna wrap it up in a bandage, some gauze, and that should be a pretty decent etching pad. So I'll cut off roughly the same size as my metal pad here. And I'll wrap it up. Make sure the cotton is on top of the metal, and then I just attach it with a piece of wire. Make sure it doesn't get loose. Then for the etchant, I've just heated up some water, stirred in some salt to make although heated water is so it'll absorb the salt more readily, and then I just dip the etching pad in here, make sure it's completely wet but not dripping, and then that should be fine. The red clamp goes onto the knife, then the pad into the salty water, making sure it's not dripping. And then we can begin. First we start with DC to etch, and after a few times of trying, I've worked out that for my etcher and what I use, that 5 times 4 seconds of DC will give a pretty good etch. You also have to make sure that you wiggle it around a bit so you get all the spots, otherwise you might be left over. You might end up with an uneven etching where you have one corner that just didn't etch. Right, I'll switch over to AC now, which will blacken the edge. I do that 3 times, and each time for 4 seconds as well. Well, roughly 4 seconds. Okay, that should be good, so I'll switch off the etcher and have a look. Yeah, of course you'll have to clean it up to get the remainder off, but that should be a very good etch. I'll clean it off in a minute or so and show you the result. But first I'll clean the stencil so that it'll last longer and be ready for the next use. To do that, I use a trick I learned from Fred Rowe, and he says to use a sonic cleaner. And that seems to work just fine, and it makes the stencil last a lot longer. So I just put some water in there, nothing else, turn it on and let it do a full cycle, which for this machine is 7 minutes. After that's done, you can just gently dip it down with a towel or something, and then it's good to go again. Right, I had a bit of trouble before. I accidentally hit something and had to slightly reprofile the actual edge. But here she is again, and mark came out great. Aside from that, I still can't manage to get the black to come out when I've buffed it. So I don't know, maybe I should get well, I should etch deeper, or maybe it's just not possible when you buff afterwards, or I could just be doing something wrong, I don't know. But either way, it still looks great. Now she's ready for some scales. I've also added a mark on the other one, and redid the edge. This one will stay without scales. Just gonna make a lanyard for it, and then you can use it like this for a box cutter.